Hi, I built a little Max4Live device. I call it the Lucier Recorder. It's based on Alvin Lucier's piece, I Am Sitting in a Room, where he sat in a room, spoke a couple of sentences into a microphone, and then played that recording back into the room, recorded the playback of that recording, and repeated that process until through acoustic resonance filtering, only the natural resonances of the room were left on the recording, and every semblance of his speech got kind of destroyed. So this little plugin automates this entire process such that you can use it either with a real room or also with a digital room, like a reverb, or for that matter, any other effect. So it's kind of a audio erosion loop plugin. It requires a little bit of setup. You can check in on the setup using this little help button. You need a separate track if you want to record with digital effects. So you'll set up a separate track, put your effects on it, have it listen to the Lucier Recorder track and send audio to the Lucier Recorder track. Monitor in. The Lucier Recorder track is on monitor auto and both are record enabled. Cool. So let's go through the GUI. We have the sample length. This is your initial recording. It can go up to 2 minutes. We have fades. So the beginning and end of the recording is gonna fade in or out to avoid clicks. We can set this to 0 because if there are fades, then there is gonna be a gap, right? And if we want a continuous sound, then we have to set it to 0, but there might be clicks. I haven't really figured out how to fix this yet. I might find it out in the future. And then we have the Lucier tape. This runs in the background and can store up to an hour of your performance. So you don't necessarily have to record onto a separate track. It is still a little bit buggy, unfortunately. So in between takes, you might be well advised to just completely reset this thing, right? Just get a new instance of it onto your track, just to be safe, if you want to use the tape function. You can record in mono or stereo, both work. So for example, if you come in with a signal like this, it's still going to be fine if it's set to mono. If it's set to stereo, then it's going to just be on one ear cup, right? But this works fine. Next, we have the record button. This will record your initial sample. You can toggle the waveform display between the Lucier tape and the initial sample. And we'll get to this section in a bit. So let's just record a little bit of audio, just a tiny little bit, to get started. This is my test recording for this tutorial. Cool, so we have the sample in. Now if we press Lucier record, it's gonna start looping. First of all, we wanna go and set this to no input because we're using this track to feed the Lucier Recorder audio. So we don't wanna record the microphone over it again, unless that is the desired effect, but in this case it is not, because it's gonna just get confusing. This is a manual gain right dial. We can set it to free or locked mode. Locked mode means the changes in audio, the changes in volume will only apply for the next loop. And you can also set the Lucier Recorder to run forward or backwards. We'll get to this section in a second. I'm just gonna set my file type. We're actually going to get to this section now. So I know that I want to save this recording. I'm going to give it a name, tutorial. I'm going to save it as wave. And now this hasn't actually saved it yet. It's just set everything up for it to be saved. So let's start. This is my test recording for this tutorial. 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 quite hot there, so that's why the manual gain right is in here. Right, it's gonna require a little bit of learning and a little bit of performance. So we can use it also to just fade out. And now that we're done, let's end this and write recording to file. And now on the desktop, I should have this file. This is my test recording for this tutorial. This is my test. Has all this nice stuff that we just did. Cool. So you could hear that there were a couple of gaps in the audio every now and then, right? That's the fade function. I'll turn it off for this second go around. And as advised, I'm just gonna load in a new instance of this just to make sure that the file recording is gonna work. So we're gonna experiment with the reverse function now. Let's record a new sample. And this time I'm gonna show you a different function. I hope it works, hold on. Yeah, I can drop a sample in here to set the sample length. Unfortunately, I can't drag a sample in to set the buffer. There's some sort of bug with that. I'm trying to figure it out, but it's not currently my priority. However, the buffer is now set to the length of the sample, right? So dragging and dropping a sample in is going to change the length to the length of the sample, and you can get the sample in by simply dragging it onto the same track and recording it in. Cool, it is now in. As you can also tell, the Lucier Recorder blocks any audio throughput in order to avoid feedback loops. So we now have this drum sample in. Sounds like this, by the way. Oh, we can't hear it. Since when does it duplicate the track? That's interesting. Okay, this is beside the point. This is not what I was trying to do. I was trying to show you the actual sample. There we go. Right, so this is what we have in the recorder now. Cool. Let's get this out of here. Ah, shit. Okay, hold on. Let's just redo the process. So we record this in. Cool. And this time we want our Lucier loop to run in reverse. So we set it to reverse. We save the file as reverse, and we should be good to go. This time I'm gain running in free mode. But yeah, so now we should have this interesting backward Lucier loop. Right, so a cool thing to do with this is to bring it back into live. And then reverse this loop, because now we're gonna get the initial sample emerging out of a reverse Lucier loop. Right, so pretty cool. Yeah, and that's about it. Again, I'm not super happy about the fades clicking in and out sometimes, and the reverse recording also occasionally has some issues. Please let me know if you find any problems with this and have any improvements that I could apply. You can find a link to the Max4Live page in the description of this video, but probably you found this video from the Max4Live page. So yeah, hope you enjoy, and let me know your feedback.